My name is Franco Vidal. I am 26 years old. I am from Lima, Peru, and my adopted hometown is Riverside, California.
And of course, people wanted none other than
Tony, el tío López.
Mi vida nunca parte de mí.
Whoa, Theo. You're breaking into song now? Thought this was just your same old boring story.
Sorry, I guess I got carried away, Carlos.
My background in film has always just kind of been wanting to make films ever since I was a kid. In high school was the first time I got my first camera and just actively trying to make whatever I could do and whatever I found funny or interesting. And it was at Cal State Northridge that I went to school for film production, and I really grew and blossomed to become the artist and filmmaker I wanted to be. I found my love for film that was just something I liked from an early age, but really developed into a real passion, something that I really wanted to pursue. And that's how Latin Nights came about to be. It was my thesis film um, for CSUN, and now I am currently at USC for my film production graduate's degree, and equally pursuing my career as a filmmaker.
Oye, Carlos, your uncle run this place, right? You think you can get us in for free?
No way, man.
Come on, man.
Carlos, your uncle is Tony El Tío Lopez, the famous salsa singer?
Yeah, Carlos is the Mambo King's protege. He's got that Latino rhythm in his blood.
I didn't know you could dance.
I mean, yeah, that's all true.
I'm over the moon about winning the Cuentas Youth Cinefest. I couldn't believe it at first. It's such a huge honor, and you never really think that you have a good chance until you're told, oh, you're moving on to the next stage and the next stage, and suddenly you're a finalist, and suddenly you hear the big words that you won. It's really rewarding in the sense that people really liked and gravitated to the film, but most of all, it's rewarding because when we were making the film, we knew we had something special, and everyone involved in that film put their best foot forward. We put our 110%, all our blood, sweat, and tears into it because for whatever reason, we wanted to make the best film possible. And every time I watch it, every time I see it with an audience or people talk to me about it, I think the overlying feeling is that you can tell all that love and passion and dedication is shown on the screen every second of it. So I'm just glad that everyone really liked the film, and it's because of everyone involved that you love the film so much.
See, the girl Linda that I was talking
No,
about.
say no more. You are Lopez. Not only good looking, but we're excellent dancers. You may have been born here, but you still have that Latin heat inside you. It's in your DNA, Chico.
I came up with the idea for Hot Latin Nights because I really loved musicals from the 1950s. I've always kind of, again, had a passion for American filmmaking from a golden yesteryear. And yet I equally loved Latin jazz and salsa music from a time that had gone. You'd think about Latin music as just like a subculture or subgenre of music, but when you really look at history, Latin music was the popular dominant music during the 1950s. These are big acts and big albums that people listened to, gravitated to. And I realized just how much musicals are like the great American genre, and Latin jazz is one of the greatest like Latin contributions to music. Combining both of them was truly the best marriage of like what I liked and what the two worlds that I've lived in and coming together on top of just my Latin identity. I was an immigrant when I moved here. I always knew that I was Peruvian. I'm not American. And the people around me, Latinos specifically, most of them never really knew Spanish or never really identified with their culture. And to me, that was unheard of. And I realized just how much for generations their parents or just new people who are coming into this country are forced to assimilate, just kind of adopt American customs and leave their otherness behind. And I've always felt that that's wrong. You know, we talk so much about roots in Latin culture and how you never walk away from it or you never really stray from where you come from. Where you come from is who you are, and you bring that every step that you take. So I wanted to make a film that fit the aesthetics of the movies that I loved as a kid, that sounded like the environments and the music that I listened to when I was growing up, and that sentiment about honing into your heritage and finding love in who you are and what your people are.
Music is in your blood.
No, tío. Music is in your blood, not mine. I'm just gonna make an idiot out of myself in front of Linda. I can't dance.
But you were dancing.
Stop it. I can't dance. And I don't want to dance.
My favorite moment during production, I think, well, you know, it's there's so many moving pieces. Finding the right cast was so important, and finding the people who were going to be the characters that I've written and workshopped so long for. And then, you know, working with my composer to hearing the music for the first time was like unbelievable moments. And I guess it has to be the final dance sequence because that's when everything really came together. There was like before we were making a movie, but up until that moment, once we got into that dance hall, that's when I realized we're making a musical and we're making something that's really up there. We're having all the people, all the perfect cast that I found are doing the choreography that I've been working with for weeks. My composer's music is finally come together, and just the way that we lit it, the way that we all kind of came together, it was a dream come true. I couldn't believe it.
Carlos, nobody's coming. Go to the Granada. It will be fun.
Thanks, Mr. Hernandez, but I'm okay. Probably just make an idiot out of myself in front of Linda.
So there's a girl involved.
Well, you know, every movie is a challenge. There's so many fires that need to be put out at all times. There's not a single film production that says everything went great. And I remember getting the Granada Club was such a difficult process. We um, had to really fight for the right time and the right days to make sure that we can shoot there. And we were doing just overnight shoots. You know, it's one thing to ask people to show up for a 12-hour day. It's another thing to do from dusk till dawn. And it was every favor I had to ask, every contact, every friend of a friend, and every uncle of a friend that I can think of and find showed up and helped me. And we just somehow, some way, at the end of the day, once we all wrapped, it was just like this huge relief of there is nothing that I will ever do that's as hard as this. And since then, I continued to make even harder, more ambitious projects than that. So that was just one of the great experiences that it's difficult, but once you look at it, it's like I can't believe we pulled it off.
Touch your hand. oh, it fits. Smile, chin up. You are a dancer now. I'm gonna take you in my car. Espérame.
I really fell in love with dancing when I was in undergrad. I studied all sorts of styles, specifically ballroom, but more importantly, Latin style dancing. I did rumba, salsa, bachata, cha-cha, and everything in between. And from there, it's a close community. You learn everyone who's involved and who's wanting to be in that kind of culture and environment, and just asking all those favors like, hey, I'm making a salsa musical, do you want to be in it? And my choreographers who were Jeanette Caldames and Chris Morales, both people that I knew just from that same scene, who were professional and wonderful. They just knew exactly what I was looking for. But most importantly, to make sure that we had the salsa moves and the mambo moves and the cha-cha moves on screen. You know, my choreographer recommended that we do a salsa rueda segment, which is a variation of salsa, uh, rooted from Cuban roots, where it's kind of like, you think of like Texan square dancing, but here it's like a call and response dance where we have one person in the center and everyone in a circle outside of them is doing the moves that they're calling out for. And it's this wonderful thing to witness. And we just thought how visually interesting that is to try to put that on film. And, we did this nice, like, Bubsy Berkeley overhead shots to kind of show just like how vibrant and how different and aesthetically pleasing this art style is for people who again would never really think of it or never even know of it, but they're just like, wow, that's part of a music, that's part of a culture, that's part of an arts.
Thank you, Carlos. Okay. Just because this is farewell doesn't mean no podemos vacilar, ¿no? 1, 2, 3, 4.
When I was making this film, I had the big challenge of just like working with real professionals. It was truly my first time directing with someone who was at that level, at that caliber. And uh, I think the first big thing to help me was overcoming that fear or imposter syndrome of like, can I do this? Like, why would they listen to me? And just, I treated it as I know what is best and what is needed. And they were so helpful and understanding, and really, really trusted in me. I think for the more grounded stuff, the conflict between Carlos and El Tio, I really realized that there's real weight and gravitas to this. That's for a movie that is very lively, very heightened, and very colorful. That was the one moment where we really focused on the drama of it all, and I realized that everything that we've been doing thus far, we have to kind of shift gears, do the complete opposite, and every moment where we thought we should go big, just throw it away. We knew that that's a real conversation, a real intimate conversation that a lot of people may have. A lot of first generation or young children of immigrants have this fraudulent sense of I'm not what you say I am. I'm American, and America is all I've ever known. And it hurts to say, it hurts to hear, and without that moments of real drama and sadness, I don't think the movie works, because then that's where we get the lively stuff. That's where we get to see our hero do the thing that we want him to see and embrace his heritage. And it's again the moments that it made me realize that casting well, casting great actors, and trusting in them and having the confidence to talk to them, it goes a long way. That's the way that scene works and functions.
Wow, you can really dance.
Yeah, so I am working on a new project. It's a little bit of a shift from a Latin jazz musical. It is a wrestling comedy satire. It's called The Jobber. It is about a naive luchador who one day dreams of becoming a champion, but he has to put up with a racist gangbanger gimmick, and now he has to choose between pursuing the belt or keeping his family's honor intact. It is now my thesis film here at USC. We are weeks away from production. It has been a nice moment to transition to the final stages of Hot Latin Nights, that it's had its wonderful full festival circuit, and now I'm moving into the next stage of my life with my next film. It has the same sensibilities, the same idea of who we are as a people, honoring our culture, and just the vibrancy and colorfulness of it all. I loved the idea of how different lucha libre is and how connected that is to the Mexican people and the culture as a whole, and how different American wrestling is compared to that. It's fun. It's about real topics that I felt, and most of all about the representation of Latinos that we see in media and how that forms an entire society prejudice for people.
Damas y caballeros, it's time for me to go. Although I say goodbye, this is not for you. As long as there's music playing, there will always be a place where all you belong. Thank you for
Yeah, the best advice I can give to anyone is two things. Watch movies. Watch movies as much as you can and from everywhere. Um, it's it's one of the most important things and one of the most simple things that you can do, but it's the most rewarding thing. In all my education and all the classes I've ever taken, I continue to learn much more from watching the masters, and especially films that have come before me and have come from other places, not just the mainstream Hollywood stuff, but from the things that really inform us of who we are as humans, as people. So watch movies as much as you can and recognize and study them. And the second thing is to make the movies that you want to watch. I would never advocate for anyone to try to greenlight a movie or make a movie because it's going to win awards or because it's going to be some important film. Movies should have an audience, but the most important audience should be the person making it. You want to see movies that are made from someone who really cares about the subject matter, who wants to show you the very best that this movie can be. And you can tell when something is connected with the filmmaker proper. You want to make the movie that you wish you saw as a kid. That's the philosophy I've always kept. And I continue to make movies that I want to see as an audience myself. I think everyone should do that.